Our guest on this week's show is Rohan Gavaskar, former international cricketer and now a popular commentator. I've watched Rohan for many, many years and I've always felt that he was unlucky not to have played a few more games for India. He was a tremendous left-hander. We talked to Rohan about his early years in Mumbai, his years playing for Bengal, his love for Manchester United, his stints as commentator and many other things. Do watch. Rohan, welcome to What's Life Without Cricket. This is pretty much a chat between friends on our playing days, our careers after the game as well, early years, but all central to the theme of our love for the game. And Anand and I will kind of go around and ask you a few things. Anand has threatened to dominate today's session. So I told him that I'll be happy to play the role of just a laughing chorus, basically, because he's got some stuff which he feels he would like to ask you. So our first question on every show is, what would life without cricket be for you?
Without cricket, in the sense, when you say without cricket, Jats, you mean what would life have been if my father had also not played cricket? It would have been very different. So, but if you mean that life would have been very different. But if you mean what would life be without cricket, having not played the game or not even being connected with the game now, I can't imagine it. Because I keep telling a lot of people that not just cricket but any team sport really, but for us it's cricket. I mean, for all the accomplishments that you have on the field, and all the success you have, all the failure that you have on the cricket field, what stays with you after that is the friendships and bonds that you make, the camaraderie. And as you said, this is one way, for you, and an example of this is, you having this show so that you can, well, not reconnect, but just another excuse to talk to friends about probably the good old days, goes to tell you, the kind of times that one spends with his or her teammates on the ground, and basically they're a second family. I mean, at one point I know I used to spend more time with my cricketing teammates than my actual family, because I used to play for Bengal. So I'd be in Calcutta for about 6-7 months of the year during the cricket season, pre-season. So I would end up spending more time with them than my family. So they are, in effect, your second family.
Sure. And I think we all live for those memories, and it's a laugh riot every time we meet. So it's fantastic. The camaraderie never goes away.
No, absolutely. And look, it's when you say camaraderie, Jats, it's also sometimes it's not just between the teammates. It's even sometimes like look at us. I mean, other than the fact that I've known you, way before I started playing cricket, seriously, I'm on a chat with the Mumbai cricketers.
Yep.
Because I played under 16, under 19 with them. So I'm on a chat with them because the bond and relationship that I have with them, which was created during those under 16, under 19 years, is still so strong. You know what that chat is like, always having a laugh, pulling each other's legs, talking about old stories, picking on one or two, usual suspects in that group. No matter what happens, they'll be the targets. So again, it's a lot of fun. And you rightly said it's the camaraderie. It's brilliant.
Gava, I've mentioned this to you quite a few times, but you're one of my favorite left-handers. I love watching you bat. I think you did not get enough credit for how good you were, honestly. But that's, we are used to that, right? We take the rough with the smooth. That's not a problem. But
you can for saying that, you can waive my fees for this show now. Done, free of cost for you, Jats. No fees, done. Us.
That's why I said it in the first couple of minutes itself.
Yeah.
So Gava, tell me about, I haven't spoken to you about this a lot, but tell me about the transition from age group cricket in Bombay to Bengal. Because it must have been tough, right? You're away from your family to start off with, but then that Bengal team is now your team. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about that.
Well, see, Jats, I started playing cricket really late, to be honest, like proper cricket. My school didn't really have cricket, so I obviously, like all kids in our country, I played a lot of tennis ball cricket, a lot of gully cricket, building cricket with friends, and in a sense, you get an idea that you have some skill level, because you're doing well in those games. My cricket, I would say, really started off, and I can honestly tell you this: I played an under-16 tournament Shatkar, and I hadn't really played too much of leather ball cricket before that, because school didn't have cricket. I was still in school at that point, and I had a really good tournament. That was the under-16 Mumbai selection tournament. I got a double hundred, I got 100, and honestly, I don't know how I got those runs. If I look back at my career, there's certain times you look back and think, how, like, why, how? Because how did I get a double and how did I get 100? Because I had no experience of playing leather ball cricket, but that set me on my way. And then I guess because I got selected for Mumbai under 16, because I got a double 100 and 100 in 3 games, my career path was then sort of chosen, because I went to Podar, our college, and Podar is what made me a cricketer. That ethos and discipline of going to nets at 6 in the morning every day, batting for an hour and a half in the junior college net, then batting for an hour and a half in the senior college net, that really set me on my way. And when you talk about transition from under 16 age group cricket, when someone asks me, when did you realize that you were going to play cricket, I always tell them that you never really realize, because it's always a natural progression. You're doing well at the under 16 age group level, then you think, okay, listen, I'm doing well at under 16, I'm going to be playing under 19. Then you do well at under 19, then you decide, you think, back in our time, there was no under 23. So you think, okay, listen, I'm doing well in under 19, I've got to be playing Ranji Trophy. So it's a natural progression. And the cricketers who aren't doing well at the under 16 level, they drop out. They fall by the wayside by the under 19 level. They're all by the Ranji Trophy level. They, it sort of, they fall out. So it's a natural progression. For me, though, what really helped when I made the move to Bengal was that I played 1 year of club cricket over there in Bengal before I got picked for the Ranji Trophy side. So in that 1 year of club cricket, I'd made a few friends, I'd settled down. Again, I've got to say, Calcutta is such a great city in terms of its hospitality, its warmth. I made friends on and off the cricket field in the first 5-6 months, and again, that really helps, because if you don't make friends and if you're just alone, just playing the game and that's it, no other activity or no other sort of nothing to take your mind off the game, you'll struggle. So that really helped, that I made some extremely close and good friends off the cricket ground, on the cricket ground, and that really helped me settle. And again, I've got to also over here credit my neighbors over there in Calcutta. They looked after me like their son,
right?
Like I was their son. So all those factors really helped me settle into Kolkata. Now I shouldn't be saying Calcutta, Kolkata, and into the Bengal side.
Yeah, and Rohan, which club did you play for in the local league?
So when I went, I started off over there playing for Rajasthan, and that's the club you want to play for initially, because the pitch is like a road; it's flat, right? And a couple of the boundaries are like 40 yards. So
That helps.
no, it helps, because back then I was doing stuff what cricketers these days are doing. My edges were going for 6 with those thin bats.
Yeah.
These days you have those monstrous bats and the ball just flies off for 6.
Yeah.
Back then, in mid 90s, because the ground was so small, I tried to flick a ball and go over cover for 6. So I was a trendsetter in a way, but that's the club you want to play for if you're making the shift to Bengal.
Right.
But then after that, I played for Kalighat and a few other clubs. So Rajasthan at the start, but then I finished. When I finished, I played a few years for Kalighat, which again, excellent ground, excellent pitch, and a great club.
I'm going to ask you a couple of more questions from the early years, and then Anand will sink his fangs into you, so to speak.
Yeah, I just want to interrupt your Jats. We spoke about my early years and Poddar and all. One of my very distinct memories is coming to your place during college days, quite often, and just checking your bats out.
Yeah.
Just checking your bats out, getting a feel of the bats, doing just shadow, talking about bats, talking about cricket. Just spend some time at your place from college and then go back. That's again a very, it's a memory which has been imprinted. You forget a lot of things as one grows older. But this is a very clear memory. Going to your place, just chilling, chatting.
Yeah.
The cats would be around, picking up the bats. Just talking about balance of bats, grains. All of that. Very clear memory.
Did you ever seek your dad's advice on batting at all, or was it just something which happened on and off? But was there a technical thing you actually spoke to him about?
Only after I played Ranji Trophy. Only after that. In fact, the other day, Kiran and Ajit, we were having a chat, and they were saying like, Gava, it's amazing that throughout the under 16, under 19 years, we never saw your dad anywhere.
Yeah.
Like he was nowhere to be seen when you were at practice or at matches or whatever. He just let you sort of grow and develop at your own pace and in your own way. But after I started playing Ranji Trophy, there were a couple of times where I felt like, okay, listen, I'm struggling with this. I need to speak to him. And he then actually made the effort, came to Calcutta, had a couple of net sessions. When I say he made the effort, he very well made the effort. Sorry, Dad, you're not getting brownie points for coming to Calcutta and helping me out with some net sessions. Scratch that. But so towards after starting first class cricket, he was there. And it so turned out that it became Devang Gandhi's superstition. Like Devang Gandhi, whenever he met my dad before a match, would score 100 the next day. In the game.
Yeah.
So that became DG's superstition. He said, yeah, if he wasn't getting runs, he's saying, Gava, Papa ko bula le. I said, Sale, Papa ko bula le. Tere run nahi ho rahe, Papa ko bula le. So it became his superstition.
What was Patil sir's impact on you as you entered college? And I'd like to talk about that a little bit, because he clearly saw what you have, and in his own.
I think you're absolutely right, Jats. I think Patil sir, I think one of his biggest strength was also the ability to spot talent. I'm not talking just about I'm going to be pompous enough to talk about myself over here, but I could see what he did with me when I joined Poddar. It wasn't just that I batted an hour and a half in the junior college nets. After a break, I'd be batting in the senior college nets, and not everyone had that opportunity.
Yeah.
There were other cricketers from the junior college nets who also batted, who he felt could have the potential and the talent to sort of make the grade. He sort of this thing, and there were other cricketers, as you'd expect in a college team, who were only going to be college cricketers, and they only practiced in the junior college net. Right. So he had that ability, and again, nets at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, a lot of dew on those pitches, but also the fact that there was a time when it was like first come first bat, so you wanted to get there early. Living in Worli, where there was no public transport, no buses coming to college, I had to try and figure out. So Vikrant Rambia, who was in Poddar with us, would come in a scooter, and a couple of times he was coming late. I said, Vicky, I want to bat. For me, you get up early. So Vicky had to get up early because I wanted to be, at nets before anyone else, so I could pad up and be in the nets.
Yeah.
Also, bowlers are fresh because generally batsmen bat for 30, 40 minutes. You wanted to be in the nets first, so you got fresh use of the bowlers
Yeah.
from a selfish point of view.
Yeah.
So Patils had a very profound impact. I mean, just the way I remember as I grew older, I'd still go to the Podar nets and practice with, at Podar. And after that, I'd drop him to his house, which is, not too far. And those chats with him in the car, just talking about, technique or, well, not so much technique, but what he, as a bowler that, he was, what he thought were my weaknesses and how I could improve. What he would sort of suss out, saying this, I think at the moment you're struggling to the incoming delivery, or at the moment I think you're struggling to a left arm spinner or the outgoing delivery, or whatever it could be. Maybe you should try and let's work on that over the next 4 days. And if he thought I was struggling against the outgoing delivery, he'd get bowlers to keep bowling outswing to me.
Right.
Right. So in that sense, they were a very deep and profound impact.
Rohan, which according to you is your favorite knock?
Well, my favorite knock, I'll have to say, is and this is again one of those things which I keep telling a lot of people, is that you've got to be lucky enough. The great players are in the zone a lot more than the good players. The good players are in the zone a few times. When I say a few, I don't mean like 2, 3, 4 times, but like a lot fewer than the great players. Now, when you're in the zone and you're at a certain level, it doesn't matter who's bowling to you.
Absolutely.
It does not matter who's bowling to you. You will absolutely cream them. Now, if you're in the zone at the start of an international game, that can set, at the start of your international career, that can set you up for life. Like I keep saying Shikhar Dhawan.
Yep.
He got that brilliant 185 against Australia. He was clearly in the zone on his test debut.
Sure.
And that set him up and, gave him confidence and, set up his international career. I remember one innings I played, I think it was the Bucci Babu against Karnataka. Now, Bucci Babu is, it's a tournament, but it's not really going to have an impact. But the Karnataka attack was Anil, Sunil Joshi, Doda Ganesh, David Johnson, Venkatesh Prasad, and I think Srinath was also there or wasn't there. But so it was basically an international attack.
Yeah.
You got international bowlers, all 5, 6 were international bowlers. And I think I got a 65 ball 100 or something like that because I was in the zone.
Wow.
And I remember getting 20 of an over of David Johnson where I was just cutting and pulling him at will. So I was in that zone. Now, that's a knock which... I'm not talking about a first class knock or, but just a knock which sticks in my mind as one of my favorites. I remember getting a 100 in a club game in England, in London, on a really damn wicket. We were 160 allowed, I got 120.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was, 160 or 120. So I remember that innings as well. So like I said, in that game against Karnataka, I was in that zone. So now if I'd been in, I just sometimes wish that zone would have come in an international game.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing, right? The greats get into that zone a lot more than say the average, well, not the average, but slightly above average or the good cricketer. And look, and this is with no disrespect to anyone, but and I'm sure you feel the same way, Jats. When people ask me, oh, did you ever think you could, were you good enough for international cricket, or did you think you'd do well? I'm like 100%. Not because of anything else, but because I've seen players in and around me who I know I'm far better than as a batsman, because, you play with or against them all the time. So you know what they're capable of, you know what you're capable of, and numbers and whatever will show you. You've seen them do well at international cricket. You've seen them get runs. So you're thinking, okay, if this brother can get runs, get a 50, get a 60, get a 100, get a 200, whatever. I know I get more runs than him day in, day out. Yeah. I see, whichever team he's playing for, I've played against him. So I know what he's capable of. I've played against him 10 times. I know what he's capable of. If he can get runs, I can get runs. Right. It's a given. But you need to have that opportunity. You need to have a little bit of luck. You need to have, like I said, maybe be in the zone at the right time.
Yeah.
But in terms of time, in terms of are you good enough, I think after a while, if you're at a certain level, you're good enough. I've got 6 in a sense. I've got 6 international hundreds because I've got 600s for India A.
Yeah.
6, so that tells me that, okay, listen, if I've got 600s for India A,
and there was some serious standard of India cricket at that time, right? When we went to Pakistan, that was no less than an international standard of cricket.
I mean, you look at the quality of bowlers that we played. I got 100 in at Lahore, and then I missed out on a 15 the next test at Karachi. I think I got 48 for it, and it was a low scoring game.
Yeah.
We won that test.
Yeah.
And we won the test. We won the test at Karachi. It was a low scoring game. I remember having a partnership with MSK Prasad. I got 48, 49 or something like that.
Right.
So I mean, the quality of bowlers that they had: Abdul Razak, Aqib Javed, Fazle Akbar, Kabir Khan, and they were quick. They were rapid.
Yeah. So since you're a batsman, I thought the obvious thing to do is ask about your bowling. Because I read somewhere that your early heroes were Jeff Thompson and Carson Gavri. With heroes like that, how did you end up bowling this like gentle, loopy left-arm spin?
Because Bombay, the temperature is about 35, 36, 38 degrees in the summer. After two net sessions of trying to bowl fast, I realized, listen, it's good to be a hard worker, but it's better to be a smart worker. So instead of running up and down, trying to extract a little bit of bounce and pace from dead pitches, I thought, listen, gentle, become. And look, Karsan Ghavri was a left-arm spinner also. Let's come on. Let's not take that away from him. He used to bowl fast. He used to bowl spin. But I wanted to be a left-arm spinner with the aggression of Thomo. So there were a few bouncers I bowled as bowling spin as well to a few batsmen. But having said that, I do have a first-class wicket bowling pace. Parthiv Patel, test player, international player, as bowling pace.
How did that happen? Why were you bowling pace?
Just trying to do something different. There was a partnership brewing, so as captain, I also had I pulled rank and said, "Listen, give me the ball. I'll sort it out, lads. I'll bowl pace. Mark my run up." Right up to the end, and my spell was a 2-over spell because I ran out of petrol. But then those 2 overs, I got Parthiv out, and then just chucked the ball. Said, "Come on, up to you guys now."
How did you get him out?
Cotton bowled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the fact that I even bent down to be able to catch the ball is shocking. In my follow through,
I think the lure of the story for 20, 30 years, got you down to catch it, right?
Yeah. The fact, to be able to get that one wicket bowling also gave me the excuse to bowl fast in the next game. Because otherwise, David and I would tell me, "Kya kar raha hai?" I said, "David, तेरे 500 wicket has been 500 wickets has been because I have been creating pressure from the other end. Bowling in tandem. If Lily don't get you, ashes to ashes, dust to dust. If Lily don't get you, Thomo must." I was just creating pressure for Utpal Chatterjee. Just tak. If you speak to him, he'll tell you that. He'll tell you, "Yeah, without Gava, where would I be?"
I'm sure.
We were a pair, hunting in pairs. Chatterjee Gavaskar. But the only problem with this was that this hunting in pairs only happened when I was captain. Other captains didn't seem to realize that the potency of this attack, this combination.
Amazing. Anand, go on.
Yeah, this is something that you perhaps have been asked more about than your batting.
Then don't ask me.
I'm going to ask you again.
If it's already been asked, you can Google the answer. Then don't ask me.
You're a creative guy. You can come up with a fresh take on it, I'm sure.
We'll give it a shot.
There was a headline very early on when you were playing, I think in the Kanga League, and you didn't make too many runs. Like father, unlike son. So given that kind of setup and given how our country is, you'd have to be a really brave guy or like bordering on foolhardy to want to be a cricketer being Sunil Gavaskar's son and being a batsman as well.
No, but see, the thing is, Anand, it's not like I wanted to be a cricketer. It's like what I said earlier in the piece. It's a natural progression. If I hadn't got those runs in that Shatkar trophy, that, double 100 and 100 in 3 games, maybe I wouldn't have been selected for Mumbai under 16. And that would have been the end of, my interest. I would have done something else. But then you get picked for Mumbai. You're doing well for Mumbai under 16. Then you think, okay, listen, natural progression is to play Mumbai under 19. So you do that, you do well. So it was never a conscious decision saying, okay, listen, I'm going to be a cricketer. To be a cricketer, you need a certain amount, more than a certain amount of skill. You need to have a lot of ability, a lot of skill. You also got to work hard. But sport, people say 90% hard work, 10%, whatever. I'm not sure I agree with that. I think if you take someone who has no skill and he works 100% hard, 100% hard work a day, he's not going to succeed because he's got no skill. Yeah. You've got to have skill and you've got to complement that skill with hard work. Oh. When they say, hard work and all that, they're basically talking about two people with the same skill ability. If someone else works harder than you, he's going to go further than you. But skill is a prerequisite. You've got to have that skill. You've got to have that ability. And then how you make use of that ability, how you enhance your prospects to succeed with your skill level is completely dependent on how hard you work.
Sure. Rohan, which was your favorite number to bat at and why?
I think 3. Because it's also, it's one of those, also initially I thought 3 because back then when I started off in 1995-96, I said number 4 pe there's no chance of India because I don't think Tendulkar is going to get dropped. So I think 3 might be the best option to bat. So, do you think Sachin what? No, he's not going to get dropped. So maybe let's try and look at number 3. Little did I realize that Mr. Dravid was also going to come soon within a year or two and he wasn't going to get dropped either. That's why as my career progressed, I tried to bat at number 9 and all. Who's at number 9? Who's my competition here? Rajesh Chauhan. I'll bat better than him. No, but 3. I think 3 is a good number because again, if a wicket falls early, you can still go out there and in a sense bat in your own way. You can still be aggressive, still be attacking or defensive if you like, and there's less pressure.
Yep.
When I say less pressure, I mean if you go into bat at 10 for 1, there's less pressure than if you go to bat at 30 for 3.
Yep.
If you're batting at number 5 and you go at 30 for 3, there's more pressure as compared to 10 for 1. But having said that, 30 for 3 is the ideal time to bat. As a batsman, 30 for 3 is without doubt the ideal time to bat in a 4-day game, 5-day game, whatever. Because for some reason, the opposition will have 3 slips, 2 gully, short leg, and there are just gaps everywhere.
Yeah.
So very rarely do you get out to that second gully. Very rarely do you get out to that third slip. If you're going to naked, you'll get caught behind first slip, second slip, or orthodox gully. So those 2 extra fielders who are there because the score is 30 for 3 and you're trying to, and if you're batting well, before you know it, you're batting on 40-50. You've hit about 10 boundaries and you're batting on 40-50. And once you're batting on 40-50, you're set. So as a batsman, I always thought that 30 for 3, 40 for 3 was a great time to bat.
Rohan, who are the current young players who excite you across the world?
Rohan Gavaskar.
Apart from him?
Dashing right-handed batsman who doesn't play cricket. Apart from him, look, most of the young players, Jats, you get to see them during the IPL. Devdutt Padikkal looks class. In the Under-19 World Cup that I saw in South Africa early last year, I thought Yashasvi Jaiswal was outstanding. Not because he was player of the tournament, but because, look, let's not forget, he had just scored a this state double 100.
Yeah.
And he had gone to a tournament. But the way he batted in that tournament was with a lot of maturity. He didn't go slam bang, trying to, say, listen, I'm going to list a double header, I'm going to try and dominate these bowlers.
Yeah.
He treated those, obviously they were all under 19 international, but he treated them with respect and respected the situation. He was player of the tournament.
Yeah.
He could have easily said, listen, I've just got a double 100 in this day. I'm going to try and wallop my way, to a quick fire 50, 100. But no, he didn't do that. So I thought his temperament was right. He struggled a bit in the IPL since then. But listen, if you're talking about young players, you also look at Prithvi Shaw. Just because he's played international cricket doesn't mean he's not young anymore. Prithvi Shaw and Shubman Gill.
Sanju Samson as well,
Yeah, Sanju Samson as well. These are the established names that we're talking about, but they're outstanding cricketers. Sometimes I see Prithvi bat and I'm like, it just takes your breath away. When he's on song, it takes your breath away. And again, you look at Prithvi, you look at Shubman, you look at Sanju, all three different types of players, three different types of batsmen. That's the good thing, right? That's the good thing is that we've got such an abundance of talent now.
Yeah.
And it's coming through nicely.
Oh, for me, I love that long lever of Sanju. Everybody holds the bat.
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
He holds it right at the top. And
Amazing. And just all these guys just seem to have that little extra split second to get into position, play the shot, that they want to play the shot. Class acts.
How's the commentary part of it been? How have you found that?
I love it. Honestly, I love it. And again, one of the reasons for this is, like I said earlier, the thing that you take, I took most from cricket was my, the relationships and friendships and camaraderie. You get that in the commentary box as well, with your, not just your co-commentators, but the producer, the director, the cameraman. It's, you spend a lot of time with them. So the thing that I was missing most after having retired was this, and I get this from commentary. So I absolutely love what I do.
So
it's also, people say coaching. I say, yaar, commentary AC box, जब चाहिए चाय पीता हूँ, जब चाहिए बिस्किट खाता हूँ. कोचिंग गर्मी में कैच मारो, भाग दौड़ करो, कौन लगाओ, ये करो, वो शोल्डर से ये करो. People don't get it.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. And sit there and say what you want.
Yeah.
Jatin, why are you wearing glasses? Huh?
How as a cricketer, you have an intuition piece about a game, right? You to kind of call games inside your head. Does that same thing happen when you're commentating as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I remember doing a Hawkeye piece, which unfortunately we didn't. This was in last year's World Cup, last year's IPL in Dubai, and they said, "This is something that you want to bring up." So I'd done a Hawkeye piece about how Steve Smith could get caught on the leg side, on dismissal, and that's exactly how he was dismissed in that game.
Okay.
But by the time he came out to bat and by the time he sort of got out, we didn't have enough time to play that piece and for me to talk over it, whatever. But there's so many times, you speak and say, listen, I want to talk on this, and that happens. So yeah, you do get a little bit of that intuition, sort of, not often, but once in a while. Again, being in the zone once in a while.
Correct. Absolutely. Anand?
Yeah, just following up on that question itself. Watching the game with your friends, watching the game just for fun is one thing. Watching the game while you're working, even as a commentator, you made it sound much easier than it actually is. Just sitting there and talking about it. Does that sometimes take some of the joy away from the process for you?
Of watching the game?
Yeah, of watching the game. Just
no, it doesn't, because I don't
start.
I can only speak for myself here, but it doesn't take the joy away from me because I don't really watch cricket otherwise. as shocking as it may sound, I don't watch cricket if I'm not commentating on the game. I mean, okay, let me put it this way: if I am supposed to be doing the IPL, covering the IPL, and say I'm supposed to cover the IPL from the 15th match onwards, I'll watch IPL because that sets me up for work for 15th match onwards. But I will not watch, say, randomly the Big Bash because I've got nothing to do with this. I'm not going to sit there and watch Big Bash or because I'd rather watch another sport. I'd rather watch football. I'd rather watch. So for me, in that sense, it doesn't take away the joy because then when I'm watching it, I'm completely in tune and completely enjoying the game. There's no overdose. There's no overkill.
Gava, a last question from me is about Manchester United. So, which was the first game you ever saw, and how did that entire, love for the
man, Jats, that I got to tell you, it's a weekend I'll never forget. It's the most bittersweet weekend of my life. Bittersweet weekend of my life. That weekend, the first game I ever saw was Manchester United Liverpool at Old Trafford. The sweet part was that we beat Liverpool. At Old Trafford. I think Sylvester scored 2 goals. I brought that up in the podcast. The bitter part was 2 days before I played my last ever international game.
Ooh.
So it was the Champions Trophy.
Yeah.
We played against Pakistan. We lost. And that was my last game. And then 3 days later, I went and saw United play and they won. It was the first game. So bittersweet mode. I got to meet Bobby Charlton, Martin Edwards. So it was great. It was a phenomenal experience.
Tell us a little bit about what it feels like to play for India.
Well, it's amazing. I mean, it's basically a culmination of your dreams coming true. I mean, back then, and I'm sure it is even now. I mean, people I say people saying IPL and whatever financially they've, these cricketers or whatever. But that feeling for India, I don't care, how much dosh you have, how much cash you have.
Yeah.
It's a high. It's something that keeps you, that can't. It's one of those things that money can't buy.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that you're standing out there with the team, national anthem being played. It's a great feeling.
Yeah.
It's again, sometimes you need a little bit of luck. I know cricketers who could have played for India, didn't get to play for India.
Yeah.
So sometimes you need a little bit of luck. You need to be when I say luck, I mean you need to be scoring runs at the right time.
You need to get into when you're in good nick, basically. Yeah.
No, and also of course you want to get in there when in good nick, and also there's no point scoring tons of runs as an opener when the openers in the Indian team are also scoring tons of runs, right? You've got to be scoring runs when those two are feeling over there, so that they get dropped and you go in.
Puzzle needs to fit in there.
Yeah. So I mean, you could be scoring plenty of runs, but if there's no opportunity or opening over there, you've got to just keep grinding on. So you need that little bit of luck as well. And look, players from our generation. I mean, if Virendra Sehwag, the genius that he had to open.
Yeah.
Because there was no middle order space.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, Viru is a genius. I mean, he's one of my. If someone told me to pick India's all-time great batsman, he's there. All-time great batsman. But he had to open. So if someone of his ability and his capability had to sort of open because there was no slot in the middle order, imagine the rest of us.
Sure.
So, but yeah, I mean, playing for India, it's just a magical feeling. It's just after my debut game, one of my overriding thoughts was, I've got at least one run, one catch, and one wicket for India.
Yeah.
All 3 departments covered, boss. All 3. Catch ho gaya, run ho gaya, wicket ho gaya. all three departments.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a great feeling.
Anything from you, Anand?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to again sort of just play off the question that you asked, Jatin. Even playing for Bengal, you took a lot of pride in that, and you stuck with Bengal like for the whole part of your career. You said earlier that when you moved from Bombay to Bengal, you were welcomed. It was a city that you took to. You made friends. You also have a phenomenal record for Bengal. I mean, a lot of when we talk about great Ranji Trophy stats, you're pretty much right up there among. A lot of people don't realize that. How much does that mean to you?
It means a lot, and I keep telling people that my biggest regret in cricket is not winning the Ranji Trophy with Bengal.
Yeah.
We got to 2 finals. One we lost to Mumbai. Mumbai
Your
had
good
to
friend
pull
got
out
you
all
out.
in the second innings.
I
But
think
Mumbai had to
the
pull out
second
all the
innings.
big guns. They had to call Tendulkar, Zahir Khan, all the big guns. They had to pull out. So basically, we took a knife fight to a gunfight. But we still it was still a close game. It was still a hard fought game. But the final that I regret most was the year before that in UP. And I'll tell you, that was a travesty. I mean, we had about 12 or 13 umpiring decisions go against us. It was a game we should never have lost. We had 12 or 13 umpiring decisions go against us, and I look back at that game, and that's the game that fills me with most regret. But coming back to Bengal, when I stopped playing for Bengal, I think I was 500 runs short of becoming Bengal's all-time leading run scorer. I think I was 500 runs short of Arun Lal at that point. But I knew I wasn't going to be playing IPL anymore. I knew obviously the India ship had passed. India ship had sailed. And I just had my daughter was 4 years old and my son was just born. And I said, look, if I was playing for if I'd lived in Calcutta, then things would have been different, because then you practice and you come back home to your family. I was 33 when I stopped playing.
Yeah.
So the question was, did I want to spend 6-7 months away from my family, or did I want to see my kids grow and be at home with them? I mean, was those 500 runs of trying to become Bengal's leading run scorer, and you try to sort of evaluate and see, and I said, look, someone or the other is going to go past that, someone or the other. Look, if someone could go past 10,122, people will go past 5,000 something for sure. Okay. So I was like, someone's going to, so, look, at the end of the day, I think my teammates and the opposition, like Jats said earlier that, was very kind enough to say that he really enjoyed my batting. And I have their respect. I know, what they think of me. And I guess, to use the cliche, that's all that matters, because,
Yeah.
Like I said, like tomorrow, if you and me, the three of us debate about who's better, Cristiano Ronaldo or Messi, I don't think Ronaldo or Messi are going to lose sleep over Jatin, Rohan or Anand things. Arey, nahi. Jatin ko laga ki Messi better hai. What the hell? Rohan ko laga ki Ronaldo better hai. Ooh. That way it doesn't, I mean, not to take away from, what people's opinions are. I mean, those who this thing. But I think a lot of sportsmen eventually sort of rely on what their peers and their contemporaries think, rather than what the outside world thinks of them. Because again, you can take numbers, stats, whatever you want, and you can edit them to suit your needs. You can say, okay, listen, we'll have a cutoff for 6 innings. No, we'll have a cutoff for 15 innings. We'll have a cutoff for 35 wickets. We'll have a cutoff for 100 wickets, just to suit your narrative.
Sure. And I think as you settle down into your post playing days, that becomes more important than anything else. What your team thought of you, what your peers thought of you. I think that.
No, and Jats, what really also gets me, that a lot of my teammates, ex-teammates from Bengal, I mean, I'm not in touch with them because I'm in Mumbai, they're in Bengal. But whenever they have, I mean, those who played under me, some of my they'll call me for my advice on some big decisions in their life.
Yeah.
You know, they'll say, Ronnie bhai, what do you think? Kya lagta hai? Can I do this, that, you know, whatever, this, that. Which tells me that, okay, I did something right when I was with them, because otherwise they would not call me for my advice or, you know, call me to this thing or, you know, ask for my opinion. But obviously, you know, what I did with them, what we did, not I did with them, what we did as a team, and, you know, it was something good.
That's amazing. Gava, thank you so much for your time. Some really cool insights here. I want to ask you one last one. Who is the fastest bowler you've played?
In the nets, or
No, in the nets we played a lot of them, right?
Nikhil Haldipur with his long winding run up once came and tried to bounce me. I had to swing my bat 5 times before I connected it. But he pitched the ball, bounced, pitched it short. I called Amato Da from the dressing room. I said, Amato Da, thoda chai leke aana, chai khawe. So he got a cup of tea, I had a cup of tea, then the ball came and then I hit it. So Haldi was one of those. But fastest bowler, you know, again, Jats, fastest bowler would. I mean, are you talking about domestic? Are you talking about international?
Across the board.
Lee and Shoaib.
Oh, Shoaib, was it easy to pick him with that action?
Yeah, piece of cake. Easy. You know, Shoaib to you I called. Hey, Amatmana, chai lao, khabe lao, wabe lao. But by that time, he had bowled 6 balls. With Haldipur, it was 1 ball which I moved. By that, but Shoaib, it was like about, I think his 10 over spell was over by that.
Amazing.
But Shoaib, you know, when Shoaib would, you know, come and do some commentary and this thing. Obviously, you know, he'd always talk about nose and toes. Hit them on the nose or hit them on the toes. Let's get the nose and toes.
That's a good one. He's
nose and toes.
I remember I played a spell from Devin Malcolm once, which I thought was the fastest, and nothing else came close. You know, so hence I just thought of asking you. But Shoaib,
no, absolutely. I mean, it's spells. Certain bowlers you don't expect to be rapid. Suddenly in that one spell, they're getting everything right. The rhythm is right. The release is right.
Yeah.
Wrist position is right. Everything goes, you know, starts moving around, starts jagging around, and those spells.
Yeah.
You know, can be really, really quick. And then other times you'll come up against them and you're thinking pretty dibbly-dobbly over here. And then other time you're thinking, whoa. I mean,
the guys who really don't know the game, I also tell them that I hit him for 4 boundaries in an over. But what I choose to leave out was that there were 5 slips and 2 gullies, basically. You know.
Again, like I said, 30 for 3, right, Jack? That field position is what you want as a batsman. I'm telling you, you want that field position as a batsman. 3 slips, 2 gullies, 1 short leg, 1 silly point. All you have to do is that when that bowler, when you just time it, you don't even have to worry about placement. Because otherwise, one of the fundamentals of batting is trying to place the ball in the gap.
Correct.
Because you can hit it straight to the fielder, kakadi shot, and there's no point. Great shot for no runs.
Yeah.
Okay. So with this field setting, all you have to focus on is timing. Not even hitting the ball hard because there are no fielders to chase the damn ball. Right? You just have to focus on timing, no placement, nothing. And I used to always tell my Bengal teammates, boss, 30 for 3 is when you should be looking to bat. With me. I don't want to be in the dressing room. 30 for 3 मुझे गावा भी अंदर चला गया ऐसा नहीं. Bat with me, have a partnership with me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, Gava sitting inside having chai again with the Amrita inside. We don't want that. Bat with me at 30 for 3 and we'll have fun. You know, take that pressure. You know, because it's the best time to bat.
Yeah, amazing. Gava, thanks for joining us, and we'll let you know when this goes live. Okay, Gava, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Yes. And, thanks. Really enjoyed this, guys. See you.
Enjoy.
So
Great, but I'm also going to say you'll ask very simple, easy questions. Huh? Nothing.
Easy questions. We easy.
I had prepared myself for hard talk with BBC and all. So stuff like that. I thought I was going to come across some, hard talk, dang, 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 some deadly suspenseful music. But yeah,
We do easy. We do easy.
lovely. I love We Do Easy. You know me, bro. Easy,
Yeah.
easy peasy.
Yeah. Japanesey. Thanks, Gava. Cheers.
Cheers, guys. You, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Bye. Thanks, you guys. Bye.
Hope you enjoyed watching this episode with Rohan. Do like, share, and subscribe, and stay tuned for our next episode. Thanks again.